What is going on, guys? My name is Chaotic and welcome back to another Grand Theft Auto 5 video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a few things with you guys that you may not be aware about with the further adventures in Finance and Felony update. Now, this in fact is part 2. If you guys want to go ahead and check out part 1, you can of course do so. There is a link in the description. But the update itself contains so many new items, features, and changes that you may not be aware about all of it. So in this video, I want to go ahead and shine some light on some of the features you may not be aware about. So let's go ahead and get straight into things. So first of all, I'd like to recommend staying away from the standard version of the Brigade when playing in GTA Online. You can of course purchase this from the Warstock Cash and Carry website for $1,110,000, but for that price you don't really get much armor whatsoever. The vehicle itself can be blown up with just one sticky bomb or grenade, and the tires are not bulletproof. Now, I'm not telling you guys not to purchase the Brigade, but instead when you want to use it online, instead of calling Pegasus, have the vehicle delivered to you as a CEO. You can do this by opening up the interactive menu, then go to the SecuroServe CEO option, then go to CEO Vehicles, and then scroll down and select the Brigade. Now, as long as you've already purchased it, you can have it delivered to you for free, but even if you haven't purchased it, you can still have it delivered to you, but it will cost you a small fee. Either way, this version of the Brigade is much better than the standard version you can get from Pegasus, because this version can be upgraded in your warehouse, and you can add upgrades such as armor and bulletproof tires. Plus, the CEO version of the Brigade will come in a matte black paint job, whereas the standard version from Pegasus comes in a horrible grey colour. But not only that, but it's also much more convenient to use the CEO option as opposed to Pegasus. Using the CEO option allows you to deliver it for free, whereas Pegasus would charge you a few $100s, plus it's delivered to your exact location instantly, whereas with Pegasus it's delivered to the nearest location, which can sometimes be a fair distance away. Anyway, so that tip is definitely worth bearing in mind. Moving on to the next one, this being the option to store weapons in your office inside your gun locker. Now, I'm sure you guys know about the gun locker, but there are a few things related to it that you may not be aware about. So first of all, its location is behind the CEO's desk. Simply walk up to this pillar and you should have the option to open it, and upon doing so, you can then hide weapons inside the locker so you haven't got to carry them around with you whilst you're playing in GTA Online. This of course is a very useful feature. It means you haven't got a few weapons in your weapon wheel that you don't want or don't necessarily use that often. So in gun battles, you can very quickly access weapons much quicker without some weapons getting in the way. But if for some reason whilst you're playing in GTA Online and you want to get these weapons back, you can do so by going into the interactive menu and scrolling down, and roughly halfway there's an option to either enable or disable your custom weapon layout. So that means at any time and at any location around the map, you can get the weapons back if you're in desperate need for them, maybe because you're in a gun battle and you're low on ammo, or for whatever reason it may be. And of course that works both ways, so whether you want to hide certain weapons or get weapons back. Now, one very useful tip which is definitely worth bearing in mind is that you can in fact lose any wanted level, no matter how many stars you have or how close the police are to you, by simply entering your warehouse. As you guys can see right now in the video, I have a 3-star wanted level and there are police right next to me, no more than 50 yards away, but I can still walk inside of my warehouse, and upon doing so, I lose the police instantly. And even when I turn around and go back outside, I still do not have that wanted level. So if for some reason you want to lose your wanted level but you don't have the time to call Lester, or you don't want to pay him to remove it for you, you can simply walk inside your warehouse and it will be removed instantly. So that is definitely a very useful tip to bear in mind, and it's exactly why I would recommend having a warehouse in every corner of the city. You can make your way to your nearest warehouse and lose it. Now, moving on to something else which you also may not be aware about, this time with the new offices available with this update, is that the interiors themselves are in fact dynamic and change based upon which contraband you have stored in your warehouses. So basically, when you have certain items stored inside of your warehouses, you'll be able to view some of these things inside of your offices. Now, unfortunately, you can't do anything with these, they're simply here for aesthetic purposes, but nevertheless, it is still a pretty cool feature, and you can know at all times what what stuff you have stored in your warehouses waiting to be sold. The new office buildings also have customizable interiors. Basically, you have 9 different interiors to choose from, and you can select one of these when purchasing your office, but you can in fact change this at any time once inside your office by going into the interactive menu, then going to Office Decor, and then selecting one of the other 9 office interiors. Now, although almost all of these interiors are identical, of course they have the same layout, the only differences really being the finishes, the aesthetics, and the furniture. 3 of these interiors come with blinds, these being the Power Broker Ice, the Power Broker Conservative, and the Power Broker Polished. So by purchasing one of these 3 interiors, your view will be ruined and blocked off by these blinds. Of course you can still see out, but it's not quite as good, so if you want to have a good view from your office building, I would recommend selecting one of the other 6. Anyway, but moving on to the Bravado Rumpa Custom, one of the 12 new vehicles available with this update. It's one of my favorite ones from this update, but what you may not know is that the spotlights on the front bumper and on the roof rack are in fact operational. Now, to many players this may seem obvious, but I'm sure there are people out there that didn't realize this, just like some of the other vehicles in game that have roof lights and spotlights on the front bumpers. You can turn these on by simply hitting the headlights button for a second time, and it will of course increase the brightness of the overall beam. Now, one thing which is very confusing with this update is the buying and selling of contraband and the prices associated to it. So hopefully I can help you guys out by breaking things down and explaining how everything works. Now, of course, to go ahead and buy some contraband, you have to log into the SecuroServe network on your PC inside of your office, and of course go to the warehouse map and then select one of your warehouses. You'll then be given the option to purchase some contraband. No matter what it is, however, the prices are the same. For 1 crate it will cost you $2,000, for 2 crates it's $8,000, making each crate worth $4,000, and then 3 crates will cost you $18,000, which means each crate is $6,000. So pretty much the more crates you buy, the more expensive each crate is. So it works out much cheaper to purchase less crates, as they sell for the exact same each when you go to sell them. But to make things confusing, it works out more profitable to sell more crates in one go than less. So to make the most amount of money and increase your profit margins, you want to buy less crates initially, but just do more pickups. So pretty much only buy 1 crate at a time, but don't sell them straight away, just store them in your warehouse until you have loads, and then deliver them all in one go to maximize your profit. But do bear in mind, this method is much more time consuming. You won't necessarily make more money, it just means that your profit margins are higher, and there is also less risk if other players try to steal or destroy your crates. Anyway, but moving on to another very useful tip to bear in mind, this one being that you can in fact use Lester's services whilst you're picking up and delivering contraband in GTA Online. Now, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure this should even be the case and whether Rockstar has accidentally forgotten to stop this from happening, but what you can in fact do whilst picking up, stealing or delivering contraband is call Lester and use any of his services, including removing your wanted level if the police are after you. This of course will make things much easier and save you a lot of time and inconvenience, and it will only cost you a few $100s upon doing so, and right now there's also a 25% discount off all of Lester's services. So this is definitely a very useful tip to bear in mind, but I got a feeling that Rockstar will stop this ability very soon when they realize how easy things become when you have the option to use all of Lester's services. Now, one of the most annoying things about this update and the buying and selling of contraband is the fact that you have to do it in public sessions. You cannot do it in invite-only sessions, you can't do it in friend-only sessions, it has to be a public session, and of course, upon doing so, players in the session like to follow you around and try to blow you up. Well, what you can in fact do is make your organization invisible by going onto the interactive menu, going to the SecuroServe CEO option, then go to CEO abilities, and for $12,000 you can enable Ghost Organization. This will remove your organization and special crates from the minimap. So pretty much when you're operating your organization and doing things such as this and other VIP work and challenges, you can do so uninterrupted, as other players won't be aware exactly what you're doing if they cannot see you on the map. But do bear in mind, at $12,000 it is a very expensive ability, and you only get 3 minutes to use this before you become visible once again on the map. But it's still a very useful feature, especially when there are loads of players in the session trying to kill you. So if you are going to use this feature, I would recommend only using it when delivering large amounts of cargo to your buyers. So there we go guys, those are 10 things you may not be aware about with the further adventures in Finance and Felony update. Like I said earlier on in the video, there is a part 1 to this, so if you guys want to go ahead and watch that video too, there is a link in the description. But I want to get your thoughts and feelings on these things. Did you guys know about them? Other things that you didn't know? Go ahead and leave a comment on the video right now and let me know. It would also be greatly appreciated if you guys could also take a few seconds out of your day to click the like button, as it helps me out a lot. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I recommend that you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.